and Wellness Center. And tonight we're going to talk about checking in with our bodies. Um, this is one of the things I like to do. I am not someone who is always good at checking in with myself mentally, emotionally, and physically. And so this is one of the techniques that I do to kind of check in with my body and see what's going on. Um, and see what's going on. So first off, we want to make sure that when we're checking in with our bodies, we're not distracted. So if you need to go to the bathroom, this would be a good time to go ahead and do that first. Honestly, I can't see you. So if you want to go ahead and take your phone with you into the bathroom, please feel free. Are you hungry? If you're really hungry, you're going to have trouble focusing on what your body needs because it's going to be screaming at you that it needs food. The same is true with water. If you're thirsty, please go get some water. Go get a snack if you're hungry, because it's hard to check in with your body when your body is screaming that it needs one thing. It's also hard to check in with your body when you're really tired because, again, your body's going to be screaming, hey, we need sleep. And if all you need is sleep, or if your body can't think about anything else that it needs other than sleep, you're going to have a difficult time checking in with your body's more subtle needs. So, depending on what my ultimate goal with checking in with my body is, I'm going to start my check-in at different areas of my body. So if I want to feel awake, I'm going to start at my feet and I'm going to move all the way up my body. If I want to kind of get more tired, more rested, get ready for sleep, I start at my head and I go down to my feet. In Chinese medicine, when we direct qi upwards, it makes us more energized. So that's why we start at the feet when we want to wake up. When we want to sleep, we want to move qi from our head down into our body so that we can rest. So we want to start at the head when we are tired and need sleep. If we feel stuck in life and we feel like we're not really experiencing the world around us, then we want to start in our chest and kind of move out to our limbs. And if we feel scattered and we don't really know how to focus or even where to start, then we don't start with the main part of our body. We start with a limb and move inwards. So, depending on what your goal is, you're going to start with different parts of your body, different intentions. The one I'm going to do tonight, because quite frankly, it's 6:30 and I'm tired, is to help me relax and go to sleep. So we're going to do a head to toe body check-in tonight. So when you check in with your body, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you're in a comfortable position. So like I'm going to kick off my shoes right now and kind of relax back on this couch a little bit. Whatever is comfortable for you. For some of you, that may be laying down. That's what I'll often do when I'm checking in. But this is a live video and I'm not laying down. It would make it difficult for you to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to get comfy, kind of cross-legged, because that's what's working for me tonight. I'm going to lean back a bit against this couch so that I feel supported. So my back is in a good position, so I'm not experiencing any discomfort. And I'm just going to make sure I'm comfortable. I might, if I was in this position at home, I might put a pillow here. Actually, the back of this couch feels really good. And just kind of relax into where I am and what I'm doing so that I'm in a really comfortable position. Because, again, if there's any obvious thing that's yelling at me, that where my body is uncomfortable, it's going to be difficult for me to focus and hear the more nuanced needs of my body. So I'm going to start by getting comfy. And we talked about how the first part of that is making sure that I don't have any pressing needs. So I'm going to make sure I've gone to the bathroom. I'm going to make sure that I have had water, make sure that I'm not hungry. And I'm going to make sure that I'm in a comfortable place and position. When one of the important things with body check-ins is we want to make sure that we're breathing and breathing correctly. There's a couple different ways to breathe. And most of us breathe in a very shallow way. Either we don't really move our abdomen, excuse me, apparently I need to breathe, or we don't really move our chest. And so we want to do a balance of the two. So we're going to start by, in that comfortable position, making sure that I have enough freedom of motion so that my body can move. I'm going to move this down so you can see my abdomen moving. So I'm going to put a hand here and a hand here so you can kind of see better. I'm going to make sure that when I breathe, I'm moving both hands. So I want to kind of inhale and open up my abdomen so I can get about 60% of my breath inhale through my abdomen. And then I'm going to finish by making sure that I'm stretching my rib cage. If it's been a while since you've done this, you may feel some tension in the muscles that protect your rib cage, because when you really expand your rib cage, you're going to feel a stretch there. That stretch should be normal for those muscles. Those muscles should be able to stretch and move freely, but that doesn't always happen, especially when we've been taking constrained breaths, when we've been under a stressful situation where we've had anxiety, or maybe we've just been so tired that it's just too much effort to take a really deep breath. Okay? So making sure that we get that good breath is really important, that deep breath. All right. When we are doing this breathing with the check-ins, one of the things we can also do is hum with our exhale. Whenever we hum, it stimulates our vagus nerve. Our vagus nerve is a very important nerve for our rest and digest system. Basically, the vagus nerve goes between most of our body's organs and our brain. And it tells our body that, okay, from our brain to our body, it says, hey, you're safe. You can work on rest and digest now, because it goes into contact with our intestines and making sure that they're moving, our stomach, making sure that it's processing food at the right speed. It helps with or attaches to our diaphragm, and that vagus nerve knows based on our breathing rate whether we need to get excited or whether we need to calm down and relax. So if we breathe more quickly, it tells our brain, hey, we need more adrenaline, we need more excitement, because we're about to do something that's going to require more. And when we slow down our breath, it tells our body, it's okay, you're safe, you can relax, you're not in a crisis, you're okay. And so that inhale and that exhale helps to tell our body that it's safe, that it's okay, that we can be aware of our less urgent needs. And so we can control our brain through our vagus nerve by how we breathe, and we control our body through our brain with that vagus nerve and how we breathe. So breath is so important. And when our vagus nerve is irritated or inflamed or worried, it can create this huge sense of anxiety. And so we can stimulate our vagus nerve and help it have more resiliency, more safety. And one of the great ways to do that is by humming, because it stimulates that vagal nerve and that vagal reflex. So we can take a good deep inhale, and then as we exhale, we can hum. So expanding into my chest. So whenever you need to check in with your breath, just that big deep inhale. I'm moving my abdomen, I'm moving my chest wall, I'm expanding my breath. Exhale. All right, so as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to do a check-in tonight that's going to help me kind of relax and help me sleep. So in doing that, I want to move my chi from the top of my head down to my feet. And so I'm going to check in with my body in that direction. So when you're checking in with your body, you don't have to use your hands. You can just use your focus. But while you're learning, using your hands is helpful to just kind of like start with your head and move down. And I'll show that while I'm doing it. But when I'm doing it at home, usually I just use my focus and just kind of go, okay, almost like I'm doing a scan of my body, like a printer is scanning and just kind of does this. That's generally how I check in with my body. So I'm going to use my hands for the example. But so I'm going to start at the top of my head. And what I'm doing is I'm checking and seeing, is anything tender? Is anything painful? Is anything less than it should be? Does something feel really good? Does it feel really good to touch my scalp, to touch my face, to touch wherever I'm getting to? Does that feel good? Does it feel right? And so I'm going to check in around my ears. I've got a little bit of tension behind my ears, so I'm going to spend a little time on that, giving it a little extra circular motion, a little extra love. So I've got some tension here on my right side behind my ear. And I'm going to keep going down my body. What about my neck? Do I have any tension in my neck? Yup, sure enough. Also on the right side today. Got some tension in there. Now, if you're using your hands, in the back, it's not a big deal, but once you get to the front of the neck, you don't want to do both sides at the same time, because you can actually, if you put pressure on on your arteries in your neck at the same time, you can make yourself pass out. If you do pass out, your hands are going to move and you're going to get blood flow back to the brain. But that way you're saving yourself from a potential head injury. So we're going to make sure we do only one side at a time when we get to the neck or the front of the neck. And so I'm just checking in. I'm like, do I have any tension? So once again, I found that tension in my neck. And so I'm going to give it a little extra love. I'm going to make sure that I'm doing a little extra motion there, a little extra pressure, just to give it whatever it needs. All right. And I'm going to come over here to the side of my chest and just kind of work through my chest as well. What feels good? Where's my tension? A lot of people who have been through emotional trauma, and that can be a big T trauma, which is like the stuff we think about when we think of trauma, or it can be little T trauma, like we had a need that we didn't express this morning, and it is on our mind because we should have said, hey, I need this, and we didn't. Or it can be something that happened when you were a kid where you had a need that you couldn't really articulate and it traumatized you because the need wasn't met. Or it could be a thoughtless word that someone said and hurt your feelings, and you haven't really processed the pain of that because you tell yourself, oh, they didn't mean it, and minimize your pain instead of fully processing what that means. When you get to points of tenderness, especially in the chest, because we keep so much trauma there, it's a good idea to kind of check in with your body and go, am I feeling an emotion with this? Am I hurting? Am I sad? Am I anxious? Am I happy? Even happy emotions can get stuck in the body if they're not processed well. And then we can kind of get into the rib cage and check in there. Do I have any muscle tension in my back? A lot of times when people have a long history of traumatic injury, and in this I mean more like physical trauma, like sports injuries, like falling on ice, like, I don't know, falling out of the bed because I'm 30 now and that hurts. Whatever it takes. We'll feel a lot of those in our back. And so I'm just kind of taking my hand and going like this and rubbing down the back of my muscles and just checking in and seeing where there's tenderness. How's my body feel? Is there any emotions in that tenderness? Is there tiredness in that tenderness? I'm going to come around to the front of my rib cage as well. Still going downward. A lot of times in the front of our the bottom front of our rib cage will have anger there if there's any tenderness. That anger can mean a lot of things. Could mean that we're mad about some deep stuff that happened a long time ago. Could mean I'm mad at my dog. Yeah, I'm talking about you. We have an office dog. Sometimes she's annoying. Most of the time she's a sweetheart. I'm a little angry at her today. But that's okay. She's still learning. Then I'm going to get to my intestines. I'm going to check in with my intestines. And now my intestines, I'm going to pretend my belly's a clock. And I'm going to follow that clockwise starting at my right hip so that I'm kind of keeping my intestines moving. And try to figure out if there's any tenderness in my intestines. And our intestines deal with separating the good from the best and figuring out the right time to let go of crap. So sometimes if we have tenderness in there, we're dealing with resentment or decision making. A lot of times if we have trouble making decisions, we have intestinal issues. Because our body doesn't separate the mental, emotional, and physical. So I'm going to get down into my hips and check in. Is there any tenderness in my hips? Now that I'm down to kind of my hip joints, I'm going to check in with my arms too. Any tenderness in there? A little tender there. Give that a little bit of a rub. If you have some Evil Bone water at home, this is also a great time to use your Evil Bone water as you find muscle tenderness or muscle tension. I'll break that down. If you find some muscle tension, then it's a good time for jade rolling too. I'm checking with my other arm. This is also just a really great way to help yourself fall asleep. Because anytime we get human contact, even if it's our own hand giving us warmth and pressure, it lets our brain believe that we're getting human touch from another person. And so it helps increase our oxytocin levels. And our oxytocin level fights our stress. So the more human contact we get, the lower our stress level. Now, if you're anything like me and you work with your hands, so if you're a hairstylist or construction worker, typist, an acupuncturist, massage therapist, you always want to make sure you get your hands. Because this is how you prevent arthritis or tendon issues, making sure you give your hands some love. So then we're going to get back into the hips. I'm just going to go down my legs and I'm doing the same thing. How's my body feel? Any tension I need to know about? Any stress in my legs? How do my knees feel? Any tension in my calves? I'm going to get down to my ankles. While I'm feeling my ankles, I'll probably do some like little circles with my ankles. Warm up those joints, make sure they feel good. If you are on your feet most of your day, you should probably give your feet some love too. Or if you spend a lot of your day driving, you should give your feet some love. They work hard. I'm going to check in with my feet. Got some tension on the top of my feet. lot of it's in some stress areas. So it's a good thing I'm giving my feet some love. So again, we're doing some of that pressure to just help. You don't ever want to do so much pressure that it's painful. You never want pain. But just enough pressure to kind of increase your circulation into the area. I'm going to give my feet some love. And that's how I check in with my body. Or one of the ways I check in with my body. So yeah, we're going head to toe because we're working on relaxation. And while you're doing that, make sure you're breathing. Make sure that you feel good in your body. If you found some spots tonight that are really tender or hurt, or you feel like your body could use a little more love than you can necessarily do, acupuncture is amazing for pain management. We're amazing for helping release emotions that are trapped in the body. Anxiety, fear, anger, stress, depression. We work on these things a lot. So if you're local to the Salisbury area, I would love to help you work through any pain issues or any emotional issues that may have come up when you check in with your body. You can call or text the number on your screen. Coming up. Here it is. Anytime, and we will get back to you during our business hours. Have a wonderful rest of your evening.